Hello and welcome to my channel where we discuss the Power Platform. In today's episode we're going to be looking at Power BI, and in particular you see on my report here I've got my name. Okay, so this is the basis of this talk, and it's actually around row-level security using the logged in user and then connecting that to a table we have in the back end. Now I'm going to link this tutorial in the comments box below, and essentially we're using a version of this on an already used report, so I'm also going to link the first video in the description below so that you can watch that in terms of where this dataset came from. I'm not going to go through it in detail. What we are going to look at though is this user principal name. Now the first thing I can do is I'm just going to show how we can get that into our report to begin with. So what we can do is we can actually create a measure in any table. So I'm going to do a new measure in this dim accounts. Give that a second, and I'm going to do that user principal name, and let's call it name measure test. And then what we can do is actually pull that onto our report. So I'm going to do name measure test, bring that onto my report, and it has disappeared. Let's try again. Name measure test. I'm going to put a data card, and essentially there it is, and I can make this a little bit smaller so we can see everything, and also take off the category label. I'm going to make it much smaller in fact so we can actually read it. Just taking a second to think about it, and there you are, that's my name. Now, first of all, what's the benefit of having something like this? Well, you could welcome the user to the report. So I could have something like welcome to income statement and then my email address. So that's one way. But actually the more useful thing is quite often our row-level security, or what our user is allowed to see, is stored in a database or a table or somewhere where our Power BI report is going to access it. How do we use that to filter the data? Now, what I've created here, these are a list of accounts, and as I mentioned, I'm not going to go through what the data set is. I'm going to link the video below. These are my list of accounts. Now, I've decided that of these 35 accounts, I'm allowed to see the amortization of goodwill. I'm allowed to see the marketing collateral. I'm allowed to see taxes. I'm allowed to see vehicles. I'm not allowed to see anything else. Hence, everything else is called not me. Now, what I've done is I've actually brought this data set into my Power BI report. So just by going into new source, selecting Excel, choosing my file and bringing it in. Now the name is the account name and the email is the email account. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a row-level security and actually filter everything that has the email equal to my user principal name. Now if I did that, at the moment this table is floating. Right? So I need to bring that into my model and actually create a relationship. So what I've done here is if I go into the relationship section, and we'll go to manage relationships, you can see I have this relationship between the name and the account, which is dim accounts, which is going to allow everything else to filter. So filter is going to propagate through the report. I've created a one-to-one relationship because it is one-to-one in this scenario, and I've got the cross filter as both here. So click OK. Now I'm nearly there. I'm then going to go into my modeling, that's it, and go to manage roles. So I've actually set it up already, so I'm just going to show that. And essentially I can create a new role, so I could just create that as new, just to show. So I'm going to create a new role and say Jessie Test. And essentially what I want to do is in this RLS table, I want the email to be the user principal name, which is of course whenever someone logs in it's going to be their name, and hence in this scenario it's me. Click save on that, and now what I can do is I can test this. So I can go view as and then go Jessie Test, and then you'll see that my data is now going to filter and it's only going to show me those 4 lines which I'm allowed to see, and everything else is hidden. Okay, so that's exactly how you set it up. It's a very quick run through. One word of advice which I've run into, and you know it's kind of why I make YouTube videos, to help people with things that I've got stuck on is if you test this in a workspace and you are the admin and you're trying to test it as another user, for example, because there is a feature to test it as another user, your admin kind of privileges on that workspace will override the user roles. So make sure that when you're testing, you read up on exactly what rules there are around workspace and row level security and testing roles. I hope you enjoyed that. Do check out more of my videos. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what else you'd like to see, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.